What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Saturday night edition of the Full Press Hockey Weekly Show. I'm your host, voice of Full Press Hockey, Jim Behringer, rocking and rolling. Chris Wassel, tag team partner. Ian Glennon behind the scenes. You know the New World Order is here for you because it's foot for life. Get it at Full Press NHL on Twitter, at Full Press Coverage on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, Full Press Coverage YouTube, Full Press Coverage on Facebook, and Full Press Hockey on Facebook as well. We're going to try to do better than the Americans are doing in Europe right now in the Ryder Cup because they're getting smoked like they always do.
Predicted this, by the way.
Yeah, that was easy prediction, but they got some momentum heading into the single session on Sunday, but I don't think so.
Europe 7+ is looking pretty good still by now.
Yeah, I think so. But we are here. We're talking hockey. This is not a golf show. We talk hockey here on the Full Press Hockey Weekly Show. Lots of news, lots of rumors, lots of things to get into. We're going to try to make it quick. We want everybody to get back to what they're doing here on a Saturday night, but we also want you to pay attention to what we have to say because, well, the home team's always right, as Scott Hall would like to say. One more for the good guys. So let's start. Let's go down south, where our lovely producer is. He does a great job with all the shows. We're going to go to Tampa. We're going to Andre Vasilevskiy land. Found out the other day the big cat, he had surgery on his back. It's been bugging him since August. It's going to be out 8 to 10 weeks, maybe longer. Tampa Bay, now got to survive like Florida and like Boston had to last year. Florida's got to do it this year too. But what becomes trickier is that those Lightning, they're up against the cap.
Oof, they can't really do much. They can't acquire much of anything. They can't. There's not a heck of a lot on waivers. I mean, Spencer Martin, really? No.
He went to Columbus.
And he went to Columbus, which is even more. That's woof. I'm just saying, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, Jonas, oof. Yeah, you just look at the options and you go, well, they're going to have to score a lot. And by the way, you have a slightly ticked off center still. It still doesn't seem all that happy in Tampa.
No, he doesn't seem happy. I mean, look, we knew this was going to be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Julien Brisebois put this team up against the cap.
Yep.
They don't have a lot of assets to trade for anybody. And according to people I talked to, Dan Vladar is going to cost you at least a second-round pick.
Minimum.
Don't have that at minimum. Oof. And they're up against the cap, and they still have to clear about, what, a couple $1 million just to get under.
Just to get under.
Just to get under to start the year.
So you figure they'll make that.
They'll make that.
They can technically. I mean, obviously they can LTI Vasilevskiy. So that's
yeah, but that only solves the problem for a little bit.
Yeah, that's only going to get you so far. Oh man, that's rough. I mean, no matter what, this is probably not going to end well for them, and they were already kind of near the bubble as far as playoff projections. So.
Yeah, but if Vasilevskiy was healthy, I think they were probably in the top 3 in that Atlantic Division.
Yeah, they were up there, but even then, I mean, all it would take is one or two, like, unfortunate incidents, as they call them.
That's very true. I mean, look, Tampa is not the team that they once were. Their defense is not what it was, and you could see it last year in the playoffs. The teams were just getting to the middle of the ice. Toronto was just getting to the middle ice.
Mm-hmm.
The whole first round. The year before was not as easy if they could get to the first round, to the middle of the ice. Yeah, the last year, in 2022, Tampa beat Toronto, and yeah, they just clogged up the middle of the ice. But last year in the first round, you could see that Toronto was able to get there. Why? Because Ryan McDonough was in Nashville, and that's a whole thing. You know, you got Sergachev, Hedman, that's great. Chernak's back there, okay, but it's not the same defense. It's not a physical defense. It's not beating you up like it used to. Yes, Vasilevskiy was been worked at the last several years. I mean, 3 years, yeah. They've gone deep. Guy hasn't been able to fully recover from his injuries. You know, he was definitely off in the playoffs last year. You could tell he wasn't the big cat.
Yeah, he wasn't himself.
But now the Lightning really, really, really need to like figure out a way to survive. I mean, remember you go back, was it 2016? I think it was. Kucherov was hurt and they only missed by a point.
Yep.
But the games early with if you don't have the goaltending, those points are so hard to make
Yep.
up.
Yeah. It's not as easy as people think to make up ground that you lost in October and even November, because, well, let's face it, he's going to be out till probably, what you figure, early December,
If at
if
minimum.
yeah.
At
So they're
minimum.
talking 8 to 10 weeks basically for this.
But you don't know what backs. It's like hips. You don't know what
and
you don't know.
and that's kind of the unknown here. We don't know. Think we do. Might know.
We don't.
We don't. So, it's a risk. There's no question about it.
Huge risk for them because look, he is the straw that stirs that drink down there.
Hmm.
He's a workload. Now, with all that being said, we've seen it. Vegas did it twice. They used what is it? Their 2018. They used 7 goalies?
Yep.
And they got to the final. Last year they used 5 goalies. Won a Stanley Cup.
Yep.
That's probably the exception. Vegas seems to be the exception to everything. Most of the cases are like New Jersey.
It doesn't end well.
It doesn't end well. But Tampa's going to have to outscore their problems. They're going to have to actually learn how to play defense. Sergachev's going to have to learn to play defense. Mm-hmm. A lot of these young guys are going to have to learn to play some defense because that's how they're going to be able to win hockey games. There's no Palat, there's no Johnson, there's no Killorn, none of these guys, no McDonough. All those big guys are gone. They're going to have to figure out a way to get it done. And Julian Brisebois is going to have to figure out a way to get somebody in there. Is it Martin Jones? Is it Caden Primo? Doubt it's either of those guys because the Leafs are just not – Leafs for sure have been burned before with guys putting on waivers.
Mm-hmm.
The Canadians don't want to give up on Caden Primo because we know what Primo did for the Lightning in their AHL.
Yep.
So there's a lot to figure out here. I mean, could they acquire somebody and put that person on LTIR knowing that player's not going to play? Potentially, that's an option. The problem is training for anybody or signing anybody. The Lightning have to play a lot of cap gymnastics, similar to what we saw with Patrick Kane last year in the Rangers, and it's a difficult task at this time of year.
Yeah, people forget that, like, literally there was like one AHL level deal that held up the Kane trade for at least about a week. Yeah. And they had to wait literally till the exact time that they pulled off the trade to get cap compliant. They couldn't even do it a minute earlier. That's how bad it was. I think they were like $276 under the cap or something crazy like that in a technical sense when the trade was actually put into the league office.
Yep. It's crazy. It's going to be interesting to see what Tampa does because both those Florida teams are going to deal with a lot of injuries. We know Ekblad, we know Montour with the Panthers. I know a lot of people are high on them, but I think, if there's a team that could miss, it could be Florida, it could be Tampa. And now, opportunity comes for Buffalo and Ottawa.
Yeah, real quick, though. I know he's not quote-unquote hurt, but after how banged up he got during, especially the Stanley Cup final, people got to ask about Matthew Tkachuk at this point.
I mean, he says 100% ready to go.
We'll see. We're going to see really fast. Because
we're gonna
sternum with attached stuff kind of dangling around. That takes time to recover. I don't care. Practicing and preseason is one thing, but rigors of a regular season, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens there.
And it was interesting, right? Like, and I don't get too overhyped with videos and stuff, like, but we saw Vasilevskiy doing practice, and he seemed to be moving pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, this could have been something that needed to be done long term for never mind say this year, but for beyond. I mean, he is almost 30, you figure, by now.
Yeah, he is. He is almost 30. He's got a lot of
goalie mileage.
he's had a lot of workload since 2015. So,
Oof.
I mean, do you think they could bring back Brian Elliott?
I can't see it. I really can't. That's just
Or is it going to be somebody like a Martin Jones?
it's got to be somebody like Jones, unfortunately, because look, I mean, Brian Elliott is about 364 in goalie years, and
That's true.
and
He
he
is.
and he only does well in March and early April after being banished to the AHL.
That's true. That's true. Tampa's in a tight
Yeah,
situation. It's very
this.
tough for them. Look, Vasilevskiy, we know how much they mean to him, but again, now it's time to rally around and figure out how you're going to play some defense and get it done. And I think this is a major reason why Steven Stamkos still doesn't have a contract.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Man, is that rough?
It's interesting to see these Florida teams because, like I said, time's now for Ottawa and Buffalo really to get it done. And then look, somebody made up a good point. I mean, Ottawa, everybody's talking about, but don't forget them and the Leafs got to go over to Sweden in November. So we saw what it did to Colorado and Columbus trying to get reacclimated. So
Yep. I mean, Colorado
it's
took
gonna be
till
tricky.
at least Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving,
At
to get
least,
going.
if not
Almost,
longer.
almost, yeah, almost December. I mean, you figure a good 3 weeks where they were completely out of it.
Yeah. Is it Buffalo's year? Again, I know everybody's high on Levi. I get it. I understand it. But again, I go back to the Winnipeg example when they had, was it Comrie and Hellebuck
Yeah,
the one year?
yeah, it looked
They
like they were
didn't do
set.
good,
They looked,
but they were too young. But both guys were young and they weren't, you need that veteran in there. So again, Buffalo's defense is improved, but both teams have to get off to hot starts. Really hot starts. We're talking like New Jersey level hot
yeah. I
starts.
mean, look, let's put it this way. All right, one of the things that we noticed at least last year in particular, Buffalo on the man advantage was disgustingly bad early. I mean, this is a team that probably should be clicking at 25% with ease. And yeah,
Right.
they were getting their chances and they were getting our opportunities. But I'm going to say this in this sense. You have like the Skinner, just the Skinner Thompson combination alone should have probably had at least 60 power play points between the two of them last year.
Oh, easily.
And they didn't. They
Nope.
need that level of production. They need to make teams pay a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And look, let's be honest about this. You have to look at this from the realistic standpoint, especially your Buffalo, Ottawa, and Detroit, as the following. We need at least a double-digit cushion on Tampa Bay come December.
I agree 100%. At least double
At least double
digits.
digits.
At least double digits on both those teams. And is this the opportunity, knock knock, for a team in New England, i.e., the Boston Bruins, to just maybe find a way to get into that top three?
You know what? They just don't die, do they?
They don't go away, man. They just don't go away.
Because they could be just persistent and sneaky enough to surprise us all yet again.
Well, I heard be prepared for the Bruins to get off to a blazing hot start because they are angry about what happened last year.
I mean, look, if you look at their schedule, I mean, it's not that bad.
No, it's not.
Damn.
It's really not that bad. No.
Yeah, to be fair, yes, to our almighty producer, we did research and actually do homework this time, unlike
We
most
did.
times that we normally don't, and just laugh at Boston because, well, we got further in the playoffs than they did last year. See, when you do that, it doesn't end well, as the great Jack Hughes told us later. Yeah, lessons of the world. So, look, bottom line is
Yeah,
this,
but
though.
that's always the case with the Devils and Rangers. We've known that for years.
Nah, really? Nah, darn,
Nah, darn.
But no, I mean, this schedule's really not, man. Wow. All right, so they obviously, wow, Chicago. That's not bad. Okay, well, they
Chicago.
open up with and then Nashville. Okay, And then I mean, what? How crazy
They
is
go to
that?
the West.
They
They
go to the
go
West
West.
right away. That must be nice. I mean, look, they're going to get 3 beatable teams there. Because I'm not impressed with it.
I think LA stops them though. I think LA gets him. I think LA might get them.
Corpusalo Death Train, really? Boston knows how to beat that.
That's true.
I mean, look.
And then, I mean, realistically, when they open that 4-game road trip, they could potentially go 4-0. And then they get Detroit,
Wait a minute.
Anaheim,
Check.
and their toughest game to close out October is Florida.
Yeah, I mean, how crazy is this? So the Ducks come east right after the Bruins go, like a week after the Bruins
Yeah.
go west. So they start out on the 19th. And then on the 26th, they play the Ducks at home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For those wondering, if you were looking for that, like that Florida Boston grudge match, yeah, Mischief Night.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, this is going to be good. I mean, all right, look, Boston plays Detroit, Florida, and Toronto, all at home. By the way,
Yep.
in that stretch. I mean, it's not brutal. I mean, there's some brutal games mixed in.
But it's not as bad of a schedule as we think it's gonna be.
They play the Rangers on that. I guess that's the Saturday afternoon after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll beat them. They always do, or at least it feels like it.
Look, I think
it's not that bad.
Now with the way, it's not that bad, and they potentially can move in. You never know. Again, who's coming in? Because the Atlantic's so competitive. Teams are going to score points someplace.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo, Ottawa, Detroit. Can Detroit get some things? And we talk about things that don't go away. Well, the rumor mill this past week. I mean, Patrick Kane sent out a video. CAA puts out a video about Patrick Kane doing skating drills. Okay, looks good. Big deal. Big deal. It's not training camp. It's not preseason. It's not hockey. From what we've been told is he'll sign when he's 100% healthy. Is he getting closer? Yes. But we know Landeskog had great videos too and never stepped on the ice last year.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. Let's just go through this for perspective. I mean, look at Nicholas Backstrom's trying to hang on basically.
He is.
I can't see anything that indicates that he's gotten much better than what he was late last season. Maybe.
I mean, if he can get 50 points,
he's going to have to get about
bad.
30 something of them on the power play.
Yeah.
I guess it's possible, especially not to talk about an older team. Washington.
Washington's not even making a playoff, so
that's true. They're not this year. How crazy is that? Like Washington. I mean, look, it's not likely, but Washington and Pittsburgh could both miss the playoffs
again.
What are the? I mean, for us who are going to age ourselves out here, Washington and Pittsburgh in the playoffs was about as automatic as peanut butter and jelly, especially in the 90s.
Yeah, since Ovechkin and Crosby came into the league,
and then
it started to get better.
Yeah, and
even before that,
and now it's like, well, yeah. I mean, you have to look at this realistically and go, man, how are they going to get in a crowded setup? Which, like we said, it's very possible Atlantic sends 5.
Maybe sends 5.
Possible.
Now. Maybe.
Possible.
Maybe.
Now it's like
maybe. But again, get it back to Kane. Look.
Yeah, real game action, or even something that resembles a Look, they can do that now. They can kind of do like a simulated scrimmage.
Look, the cuts look good. Look, his hands are still there. They're not going away. He's doing stuff in the gym. It's all well and good.
Still.
The question is where is he the best fit? Is it Detroit? Is it Buffalo? Is it Dallas? We know he wants to go to a contending team. We also know he's only getting a 1-year deal this year. If some team signs him to 2 years, shame on you.
We want your head examined and your credentials checked.
Right, exactly, because he's only getting a 1-year deal. Now, it's not going to be league minimum, and he can't get bonus incentives in his contract because he misses the cutoff date.
Yep.
So it's not gonna be what it was, and it may only be for a couple million. And you look at it similar to like Toronto for a team. If he ends up there, where is he? How they fitting him in? Buffalo makes sense. We've heard that, and I think Dallas I think Dallas could somehow become the clubhouse leader, just because of what they got going on down there, and he seems to want to play there.
They could sign him for cheap. You have a lot of players down there. You have obviously Sagan, Pavelski, Ben. He knows them well. He fits in well with them. It makes too much sense. It really does.
It does. I think Dallas and Kane's a good option, but then again, Buffalo would be a great option, especially if they get off to a good start and it's
Yeah, you could do it.
you could do it again. Would Detroit work? Yeah, because he wants you realign DeBrincat and Kane, but they're not at that point to make playoffs yet.
No, they're not.
At least they're not in my eyes.
Yeah, it's the old. You could say, okay, give them give it time, but not yet.
Not yet. No.
Getting close.
So, getting close. So it's gonna be interesting to see where he goes. And I know he's feeling better, but again, he won't. That decision's probably not coming for a couple months easily,
right?
Regardless of what we see from minute 20 videos. Again, it's nice. He's going through the rehab process. He's in Toronto. He's doing all that stuff. It's all well and good, but until he hits the ice and until he gets in full game speed, anybody can look good at shorts and a t-shirt. Ian knows it. Ian, our producer knows it. Look, just go to the NFL.
Yep.
We've
seen it too often.
Too often. Guys look great in shorts and t-shirts. Guys look great in the preseason. Real game speed comes. It's a whole different animal. Same. That's why I don't take too much stock in the preseason. I really don't. It doesn't really matter. Like, it's all well and good. Half those guys aren't even going to make NHL rosters anyway. So.
Exactly.
But you like to see guys perform. You like to see guys that need to take next steps, i.e. Alexander Holtz in New Jersey. But again, the preseason, it's the preseason.
It's the preseason.
Still, it's the preseason. More rumors not going away. Shane Pinto in Ottawa, and then we'll move to the dynamic duo in California. What is going on in Ottawa, Chris? I mean, I personally think they've taken the wrong approach with this kid. They should have signed him and then figured out the cap issue.
Well, we've said it. I mean, we've said it a few times now that they were going to sit there and go, well, we're going to make cap room first, and then try to sign. You never do that in this cap era.
No.
You can't do it.
No, you can't do it because you lose all your leverage.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone. I mean, obviously we've talked to Murray probably several times a day. And the other day, and the other day, and the other day,
and the other day.
How? Here's the gap in a nutshell. Okay. Do you believe it's $1.5 million a year as far as the gap? Probably not.
No.
Is the offer that was being bandied around in headlines, was that made? Yes. Was that Ottawa's last offer between then and now? No. Is it close?
Was it the initial offer? Probably.
So if you're figuring that the initial offer was $1 million, let's just, maybe.
Maybe.
But the player has said it, he wants $2.5 million a year. sounds like that $1 million offer was a opener to me.
So, me too.
So if you're at 2.5, and you're at 1, maybe you go a little bit more than split the difference.
Say 2-1.
2-1, 2-2. Maybe you go Lafreniere for 2 years, perhaps.
Could do
And
it.
get it over with. And then you worry about trimming wherever you have to.
Trimming, because you still got a little time before, what, October 10th?
Yeah,
11th?
I mean, it's not. All right, let's put it this way. It's not like it's October 7th.
Right.
And we've only got.
It's September 30th.
Yeah, we got another week and a half plus to go.
Get him signed. He needs to be in camp. Same with the other two players. They need to be in camp. Why? Because it never ends well.
Right.
You know why? Because we see it all the time. Guys coming back from injuries, guys hold out, whatever this case is, they have to play catch up. And when they try to play catch up and get back to game speed, they ultimately get injured and they're out anyway.
Yeah, and I know because I've seen it, and people are like, well, how do you get in such a cap purgatory in the first place? Well,
You signed Vladimir Tarasenko for
$5
$5 million.
That was their problem.
And you also gave Matthew Joseph a contract that he probably didn't deserve.
All right, so amusingly, and Murray pointed this out to me yesterday, and I knew it was low, but you don't ever think it was like basically in dollars terms this low. So Ottawa, the real obvious problem is they still have to crunch a little bit because their roster size is only 20, Jim.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, if it was 20 and they were say 2-3 million above the salary cap, it would be one thing. Try $121,000 above the cap. That's not a lot.
Not to mention, if Josh Bailey gets himself a contract, they have to figure that out too.
Well, I think they're going to have to almost figure that out first, whether he makes it or doesn't. He's going to, and you figure he's going to take what, somewhere in the $750,000 to $1 million range.
Yeah,
roughly, because you figure league minimum is about $750. $750. So, yeah, I mean, after that, there's not much room here.
No, there is not much room there. Look, you needed to get Pinto into camp, figure out the cap after that.
I mean,
because it doesn't help your team, because he's such an important asset. Centers don't grow on trees, especially young guys like that. Who's a fundamental core piece to this team being successful for years to come.
Yep. Yeah, and I see the potential in him. There's no doubt. Many
Huge
other people
potential.
I mean, it's kind of cut and dry here. Pierre. Sacre bleu.
Pierre, what are you doing, man? But hey, Pierre, at least that's your only problem right now. Look, I like the addition of Tarasenko. I think it was good. But again, you got yourself up against the cap now. And you may, I mean, again, you don't want to say regrets or you want to look back. Maybe, no, he helps this team offensively, and they needed that. Maybe you sign Pinto first before you sign Tarasenko. I'm just saying. Maybe. But in comparison, Pat Verbeek, dude, you got to get your boys to camp. Like you just need these dudes here. It doesn't matter what Zegras wants, pay him. Like, you need to get him into training camp. Him and especially Drysdale.
That's worse.
He didn't even play last year.
That's worse.
Now, we believe what you want to believe, what you read. Anaheim's offering 3 years at $4. Zegras believes he should be paid over $5.
Yeah, it's not like Zegras is demanding like $7 million here.
No, he's asking for what, like $5?
Yeah, it's around 5 to 5.5.
That's reasonable. They have $16 million in cap space. We don't know the number on Drysdale, but we think it's probably similar.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the Zegras end of things, on the team side of things, but we don't know. Both are probably getting bridge deals unless Zegras went to his agent and said, I want to do what Austin Matthews did.
Now, it's interesting to note, too, that, and again, this is something where it's like, all right, do you believe them? Do you not? I mean, we know insiders are like a dime a dozen in the NHL. But they seem more focused on trying to sign Drysdale at this point than they do Zegras.
They do.
I mean, at first it was kind of like you heard the whispers and like, no. Now it's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. This is starting to look a little. I mean, to be honest, it's starting to look a little bit scary in a sense.
They're playing with fire with Zegras, man. That's a kid you don't want to lose. Unless he's not a Pat Verbeek guy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that's an issue then.
It's a big one.
Because if you're the owner of that team and the president of hockey operation, and you put this guy in charge of your franchise and you had Trevor Zegras, you better have made sure your general manager was on board with the fact that Zegras was going to be here long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just looking at some of the numbers, it's like, well, let's see. Yeah. Oof. That offer, by the way, there was actually even lower, Jim.
What was the offer?
The first offer supposedly was around 3 to 3.5 AAV.
That's crazy.
That's where it gets bizarre.
Well, and you wonder, like, Pat Verbeek, I know, has come from the Steve Yzerman school, and we saw what Steve Yzerman did in Tampa with his guys, but it was on the foundation of, well, it's prove-it contract, okay, fine, but those prove-it contracts, the guys at least got paid before they hit it big.
Yep.
And they were usually got their extensions the following year. Anyway.
Yeah,
for most of those players.
It's just a completely bizarre situation.
It's very bizarre because Drysdale especially needs to be in camp, considering the emergence of Owen Zellweger on their blue line.
Yeah, people are forgetting about this.
They have a good young team, and their prospects are really good.
Yeah, I mean,
especially on defense.
I mean, I would say defensively, amongst the 32 teams, they're probably top 5 in terms of the prospect barn when it comes to defense.
Yeah, you got Labushkin back there. Like I said, Zellweger.
I mean, you got to consider this is a team last year that, for a while, we comically lampooned on this show as a team that was giving up just about 40 shots a game.
And they were. John Gibson was getting 40 shots a game.
He was getting a good workout.
And Drysdale has the potential to be Sanderson for the Ducks.
Yeah.
So you have to get that player into camp.
ASAP. Oh, actually.
ASAP.
Actually, now.
He needed to be in camp yesterday. He needed to be in camp the day before camp started. Let's be honest.
No,
like,
it's true.
It's all well and good. You can train with all these other people and like, oh, I'm working with. It's not the NHL. It's not NHL training camp. It's none of that stuff. It's very weird because the Ducks have cap room, and now, by the way, Alex Killorn's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks for a broken finger.
How crazy is it? Could they put him on? Could they put Killorn on LTIR? Break his other finger? Look, this is how crazy it is. You have the money. Stop playing hardball.
They do have the money. They have the money to pay Zegras and Drysdale now if they each wanted $6 million.
Yeah, they could overpay them, and nobody would bat an eye.
This team is not going anywhere. They're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, this team's not making the playoffs realistically for 2 to 3 years.
And now you're doing exactly what Montreal did with PK Subban. I know there were other issues with Subban, but this was the one big sticking point that really caused things to fall apart between Subban and the Canadiens management.
It's true.
And then he got traded.
Then he got traded again.
I mean, that first bridge deal was a problem because he probably should have gotten a long-term deal.
Yeah. No, you're
and they
right.
didn't want to give it to him. And multiple people have said that
Mhm.
that was a big problem for Subban, and it really caused dissension between him and the management. And you're playing with fire with potentially losing Zegras down the road if you continue go down this path, because he's going to be like, well, why would I want to play here?
Mhm. No, you're absolutely right. It's just a
I mean,
fact.
it's a fact. Like, I don't know what you want to have a guy Zegras there and have him grow with guys like Carlson, with Mason McTavish, and guys up there. You want with the help of Vetranos and
It's a
Jakob Silverbergs. It just makes too much sense not to have him in camp right now.
look. It's a good young team.
They're going to be an exciting team.
It's just going to take a long while, and yeah.
I just don't understand what they're doing over in Anaheim. The West Coast. These guys are. I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm not going to get into politics into this, but man, something about that state. I guess it's wearing off on the management staff. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean,
That's all I'm going to say.
it's crazy now because look, and it's been kind of like casually reported, but not so casually, is that Buffalo is kind of circling the wagons here.
Well, I mean, Zegras out of the three guys, because Pinto and Drysdale are not eligible for offer sheets or
Mm-hmm.
ARB. Zegras is the only guy that's eligible for an offer sheet.
Yep.
And if you're Buffalo, do you do it?
Look, considering it was done to them, maybe you do take a shot here.
I mean, let's play the hypothetical game.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do on an offer sheet to where you potentially could get him? Because now, if they do offer sheet Zegras, what would they have to give up? It's not 3 firsts, right?
Yeah, at least in this case, it's not that bad yet, and it's going to depend on the offer as well. But I mean, how much? Let's put it this way: how much is too much for basically Anaheim to go? You know what? Yeah, go ahead, take him.
Yeah.
That's what we don't know. Nobody seems to know that. It's like if pushed, will Anaheim just go? You know what? Okay, we'll pay.
Yep.
And part of that's on ownership too.
Yeah.
I mean, ownership
Exactly.
kind of has an artificial cap in place.
They do.
So there's no easy solution. This isn't going to end tomorrow.
No.
And I've got to believe that, yeah, sure, one phone call can change this in the blink of an eye. But regardless, you're going to have two players that you are figuring on to be prominent members of your team that will not be ready for the regular season.
No. And one guy that needed to be in camp,
Yep,
who missed a lot of time last year because of a shoulder injury.
exactly. And that's
Not a good thing. Not with a new coach, not with
no.
new systems in place, all this stuff.
No, it's pretty rough.
It's going to be a very fascinating situation to watch, because it could end the day before, it can end after.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it. Again, the one phone call can change everything. The one phone call is show me the money, and then it changes everything. But it's going to be very interesting to see.
Man, would I like to be a fly on the wall for that negotiation?
I mean, look, Braden brings up a great point. I mean, the Avs need goaltending as well behind Georgiev. We know we see what's going on in our full press writers chat right now on X. To see the options for Tampa Bay. I've seen Louis Domingue. I've seen Comrie maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And look, like I said before, the Habs are going to carry 3 goaltenders. They're not going to waive Primo. You could throw Jones in there. We'll see wherever you are, but I think they're going to figure out something down in Tampa. As for Colorado, I mean, Francouz isn't ready to go.
Mm-mm.
Do they bring in Halak? Do you bring in a Comrie? Do you bring in somebody? I mean, the defense is better, but look, Colorado comes down, also has to play defense. Also, they have to figure out on Devon Taves. Devon Taves UFA.
Mm-hmm.
What's he going to get? Are they want to go long-term with him, or are they going to go shorter because he's 30? I'm not sure they're going to go long-term with him. I could see a 4 to 5 year deal for Devon Taves there. The question is can they play better defense in front of him? And is Ryan Johansson your answer at the second line center position? And look, again, does preseason matter? No, but I've seen things from Tatar and Drouin and guys like that have said, okay, there's potential here. But again, is Colorado one of those favorites? Yes. It's Dallas there. Throw Minnesota, what they did with Zuccarello and Foligno, and fine. But again, like the Atlantic, the Pacific potentially could have 5 teams. Is anybody going to sleep on Nashville? Look, there's a lot to go around, but again, Avs probably got to add somebody.
You would think that they're at least they're actively exploring the waiver wire.
Oh, easily.
I mean, look, they're saying all the right things with, Francois. Man, first it's his hip, then it's his, then it's the knee, now it's the hip again. There's a leg.
He ain't playing this year. There's your LTIR answer, and then bang, bring somebody in.
Yeah, I kind of think that he at least is going to be out, if not the first few months of the season, and the whole
season. Yeah.
Because you figure he makes how much now? It's enough to go out to get somebody.
Just go get somebody. That might be enough to allow you to bring a guy like Yarrow Halak in.
Man, so wow. So if you figure that, all right, it's $2 million plus. Yeah, $2 million would do it.
I think that's enough to get him in there.
Yeah, that's enough.
But again, we're gonna find out because there's a lot going on. Training camps, preseason underway, a lot of rumors. It's the usual suspects over the last couple of weeks, days.
Yeah.
Same things every day. Let's see what Braden has to say. They've been adding a decent amount of waivers. Yep, they have. So they'll probably add to that. Joe Sakic, what he does.
He likes the waiver wire.
Mm-hmm. So does McFarland. They both like the waiver wire.
Yeah, he had a rough year one as GM.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Colorado, little hangover.
A little bit.
Georgiev, he played good. He didn't play great. They lost to a team they probably shouldn't have lost to in the first round of playoffs. But again, mistakes always end up in the back of your net. No second-line center. Didn't address it at the trade deadline when he should have.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, hey, look, we all trust the insiders. We all trust the guys. We all like the guys. Remember, these guys, me and Chris and I, however you want to say it, proper English, told you Landeskog was not playing, period. He wasn't.
And he still isn't. We don't know.
And we don't know if he ever will. You hope he does. But I don't know if he's getting back for the playoffs this year.
Look, if I'm Colorado, I come in with a realistic expectation that you're praying like anything he's ready for training camp 24-25 season.
Exactly.
Because, we've heard it, 12 to 18 months. Best case scenario.
Yeah. 12 to... But it could be longer. You don't know with these surgeries.
To be fair, and, again, of course, it has to be somebody from Ottawa or formerly from the Ottawa organization who had this done when it was first being recognized as a viable surgery. Mark Mevlot had that surgery. And he said it took him, 4 years to have a somewhat normal life. So it's come a long way, but it's still got a long way to go.
And to play NHL level hockey,
Yeah, I mean, look, Mifat, he was 33 or 34, I think, when he had the surgery.
Yeah, we thought, yeah.
I think Landeskog was 30.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You don't know, but I'll tell you this: if Patty Kane's doing what he's doing, you hope that he can come
Oh
back. Again, it's
shoot,
different,
I'd love to see Captain Angry come back.
but we'll see. And obviously, they got to worry about the cap as well for Colorado moving forward.
Mhm.
Ottawa up. Who would have thought Ottawa would be up against it? But here we are, and
Don't sign Josh Norris to a nearly $8 million a year contract. Oh, sorry.
that would have solved some problems too. But again, those are things to keep an eye on. Those are things to keep an eye on. The situation in Ottawa, situation in Anaheim. Does a trade happen? Again, teams know what Ottawa wants to give up, but they know they're going to have to pay to do it. So, again, these are things that we're going to keep an eye on. Things we're going to continue to report on. Guys, check it out. FullPressHockey.com for more. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Braden with the comments. For Chris Wassel, Ian Glennon, I've been Jim Berenger. It's been the Full Press Hockey Weekly Show here on a Saturday night. Get it again at Full Press NHL on Twitter, FullPressHockey.com, Full Press Hockey and Full Press coverage on Facebook, Full Press coverage on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Guys, enjoy the rest of the weekend. Take care.